Well, tonight, it's a privilege to talk with Gary Pankow. Hi, Gary.
Welcome.
Oh, thanks. and you too. Now, you've been kind of a fixture in the Torrey, Teasdale area, since 1995? Is that right?
93.
Three?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, I was in this building long before that when it was Warden Gloria. I came in and visited him on a bicycle trip as I was coming through and stopped in because Aunt Virginia was one of the founding members of Entrada, and it was her brother-in-law, so we stopped in and saw Warden Gloria and have a signed copy of their book somewhere in my library stacks.
Fabulous. So, but let's go back farther. Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in the Detroit area, a suburb called Warren, and went to public school there. And after graduating high school, I did a little bit of community college and had itchy feet and started traveling. I'd already been traveling a bunch. But I moved to Colorado to be a skier, then I went to school and then moved to Utah to ski some more.
So, you should be the poster child for Ski Utah.
Oh, no, I've got a long ways to go before I do that.
Now, a few weeks ago, you stopped by the old house with some buddies of yours from back in Michigan.
Okay, yeah, that have been Jim and Jim.
Yeah?
And Mary and Terry. And those are all people I met in high school, and we worked in a restaurant together back in Royal Oak neighborhood of Detroit. And we were, it was part of my misguided youth. Working in,
We're all about secrets here, Gary.
oh yeah, working at the Black Forest Inn. Yeah, it was a lot of fun then.
What did you do? What was your
I was a busboy at that point.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we and the waitresses would give us tips, and we'd go out and party after. So it was great.
So being a busboy, that's when you knew that was not what you wanted as a career, I
Oh,
suppose.
it was restaurant business, and I had already realized that travels were part of my up and coming, and restaurant business gave me an opportunity to travel.
How so?
Well, I worked in Key Largo, Florida, northern Michigan, up near the bridge, lots of different places, and vacationing, travel, and food and travel, they go together.
Okay. So how did you discover Torrey?
Torrey, I was a bicycler, mountain biking, doing a lot of that at the time, and there was something called Fish Lake in the Fall, and that was a 3-day bicycle weekend, the weekend after Labor Day every year. Our good friend Clark Knight in Richfield, the photographer, was a sponsor of that. And I would come down every year, 4 or 5 years in a row, to bicycle, and ran into an old friend, Adis, and he said, buy the house next door to me. And the deal fell through, I'm not going to go into that. And then a couple months later, he said, buy the restaurant down the street. And I said, why not? So where it went from there.
So a serious business plan to start,
Yeah.
right?
So yeah, but I'd been bicycling. I used to bicycle a lot in Moab, and it got crowded, and I was 10 miles out of town and turned over a rock and said, you know what, I don't want to be in Moab anymore, and started coming to, I've always been partial to the San Rafael Swell and Capitol Reef, and Capitol Reef is kind of the southern tip of the swell.
So when you were doing the bicycling, were you at Deer Valley then?
Deer Valley, I don't know, I bicycled a lot all the time.
Okay.
Deer Valley was, I did the opening of Deer Valley. I was there for 3 years and started with them before it was opened. I had an office on, I guess it would be Prospector, where the Burger King is now. There's an office upstairs in the building next door. I was officed up there and writing menus, developing staffing guides, figuring out how many people we needed, blueprints, how many, what we're going to need, what we're going to take, what are going to be the scheduling, and all that type of thing.
Well, I remember when Deer Valley was ramping up,
Yeah.
the Nasikas family were very clear that they wanted Deer Valley to be as famous for its food as for its skiing. That was a challenge.
That was. We had a pretty high bar to go with. The Nasikases were, what would we call it? Demanding, and they knew what they wanted, and we went to that level. The Stearns were great to work with at that point as well too. The owners, and yeah, it was quite a little resort at the beginning. Now it's got overblown. It's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
So it was. So you went out. You were talking earlier about hearing the ski reports.
Ski report, KPCW. That was you, and I would listen to you every morning. You were the voice on the radio, and I remember meeting you in person and hearing your voice from across the room. I looked up at the speaker in the ceiling. It was live. So, yeah. Park City. I did a lot of things up in Park City besides the Deer Valley. I was working with a DRC group, which was a restaurant conglomerate that owned 6, 8, 10 restaurants in the area. And when I was corporate chef for them, I had Barking Frog, River Horse, Amici, Stag Lodge, Park West, and Fresco.
Wow.
And that was
I think just about all of those are still around.
yeah. Well, Fresco's gone.
Yeah.
Amici, Barking Frog are gone.
Yeah.
The Diablo took a lot of its inspiration from the Barking Frog.
Ah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get back to Torrey then. What was the name of the restaurant that was actually there?
The restaurant that was I purchased was called Buena Vita, Good Life,
Buena Vita.
and it started in Caneville, where the Caneville Motel is now, is where the Buena Vita was. And that family moved to Torrey and opened the restaurant in the White's family house. And it was the White's family that built that house. And I think there was a trailer there before, because the gardens are cinder block foundations. So there must have been a trailer home there at one point. And then the White's family home went in. And it was owned by people 2 doors down. They owned the property and leased it to the people that ran the Buena Vita. And then he died, and she didn't want to operate it anymore. And the daughter took it over and had no interest in it and turned into
So the timing was right for you.
yeah, so I picked it up on a lease and put a huge investment into a lease property. That was a gamble. Then at the end of a year, I did the purchase. Paul and what's her name? He was a gas station owner in Southern California. That's where he had his money. But 2 doors over, just on the other side.
Oh, Dave. Well, I can't remember right now.
Anyways, that's purchased a restaurant from them. Did a big remodel on it, and always improving.
You've done a lot of the executive work in the past. Was this your first hands-on?
This was the first business I had owned, was the Diablo. I did lots of openings. I did the opening of Deer Valley and developed the staffing guides, the purchasing orders, the menus, the costings of all of those. Also changed the Hotel Utah into the Joseph Smith building, working for the church. And again, wrote the menus for 3 dining rooms, 12 banquet rooms, a commissary, pastry shop, stewarding department. Did the opening of a little restaurant called Helen's in Salt Lake on 9th and Vine. My friend Joseph and Helen are Czech, and we wrote the menu in Czechoslovakian and didn't translate it. Just for fun. And Helen's mother, Babichka, came out from Prague, and she showed me all the home recipes. I made them into commercial recipes, and we did Czech food there, and that was an intimate little restaurant. I don't know, 24 seats or so, and there I would make 9 different kind of dumplings every day, from dessert fruit dumplings to spätzli to pierogis to bread dumplings, bramburve, keredliki, and dumplings, all of those every day. So, yeah, gave me an opportunity to new stuff all the time.
Indeed. Some of your promotional material on your website in the past, you talk about a superb meal requiring 4 ingredients.
4 ingredients, yeah, that's one of my theories. If you're an artist and you have 4 colors, you can do a beautiful painting. If you take the whole palette and you go like this, it's like mud. So if you use the 4 and use them correctly, you can have a nice dish that each one of the different ingredients shines. I mean, we're not talking about salt and little, things in the background, but 4 ingredients is all you need.
Okay. Well, you talked about the blending of tastes and a plate that pleases the eye.
Pleases the eye. In the restaurants and in my cooking, I like to make things that you can't get at home. That's something that I never understood, why you'd go out for steak, baked potato, and steamed broccoli. I make that at home. So why go out for it? So that's part of it. I also like to watch how people eat, and how people eat is, I give lots of examples. If we go to a burger stand on the corner there, what's the first thing you do? You don't unwrap your hamburger and take a bite. You have a French fry first. It's just how you eat. And once you know these nuances of people, you go out for ice cream sundae, and you get that. Before you pick up your spoon, you have to deal with the cherry on top. You do. If you don't get one, where's the cherry? If you do get one, you're going to eat it straight away, you're going to put it to the side and save it, or you're going to throw it off the table and say that red dye number 3, it's going to kill you. But you deal with it before you pick up your spoon. And in all restaurants and in all food, once you realize how people eat, and you can come into these factors.
So you construct an item that way.
And you construct it that way, and you get their attention from the time they walk in the door, from the time the plate goes in front of them. Their attention is back to me. So that's.
Well, you've mentored and sponsored chefs, emerging chefs here in Torrey. Talk about your thought about the future of food here.
Oh God, it's a tough business. These past 2 years are tough, and I don't see them getting better for a few more years. It's going to be, labor is going to be, it's miserable from what I'm hearing, and I'm glad I'm not having to fight that anymore. But people still have to eat. People still want to be able to have interesting things. People go out for 2 reasons. One is because they're hungry, and that's where you go to a lunch place or a diner or something because you're hungry and you need your nutrition. Or you go out for entertainment, whether it's because we're old buddies, we haven't seen each other in a while, we want to sit and have a meal together, or it's a celebration, birthday, anniversary. Those are the other reasons to go out to dinner. And it's one or the other. The middle of the road places that are struggling now are the Fridays and these middle of the road diners that you don't have a reason to go out to dinner on a Thursday night. You're watching your dollars, and so those are always going to struggle. But lunches are good. dinners where you have a celebration or entertainment value are still going to do good.
So you've been able to watch at least a couple of the people that you mentored?
Yeah, I talk to them all the time, and they're doing well, and yeah, I'm proud of them. I've got a lot of people that have done well, and it makes me happy to see that they're doing.
So we know about those here. Was that part of your past MO? Were you able to
No, I have
bring people
I have
along?
some mentors that I'm not sure if they know it, but I have some chefs and some people I've worked with that I think back, and yeah, there would be George O'Dew when I was at Willow Creek. He was the general manager and a chef. Or Yvonne, which was at the Money Tree in downtown Detroit. And yeah, they were some mentors to me. And they had gimmicks, not gimmicks, but always something, a hook to get people going. An example for Yvonne, I was part of my apprenticeship. I'm just out of high school, downtown Detroit, the business district, little restaurant in the business district, and happy hour wasn't jumping, just wasn't going. Lunches were good, dinners were good, happy hour didn't take off. So Yvonne comes up with this idea. She buys this great big parrot like this and puts a peanut bowl in front of every bar stool, this horseshoe-shaped bar, and puts the parrot on the bar. Not that parrots eat peanuts, but it didn't matter. And here's this parrot walking up and down the bar. 2 weeks later, it's 4 deep at the bar. It was just one of those things. Cockroach Charlie finds out about it. So the parrot gets moved to the corner. But by then, the place was jumping.
Okay.
It was a hook. And once you find those and realize what's going to press people's buttons.
So that's a big success. Any fabulous flops that you recall?
There's been plenty of them. There's been plenty. And lots of, yeah. That list's too long to go into right now.
Well, maybe you can share at least one.
Go to the next question when I have a good one.
Okay.
I'll share it with you.
In 2013, you decided to sell Diablo. What led to that?
Well, I guess like everything has been for sale. I always used to think that it was for sale since day one. If you had the money, I'd sell it to you. I used to talk to my CPA, what's my exit strategy? What's my exit strategy? I don't want to die behind the stove. So he had always been telling me, take all of your revenues and put it on the books. If somebody has a banquet or a party and they pay you in cash, put it on the books. Don't put it in your pocket. So I took his advice to heart, and I opened for lunch and got the revenue stream up. Lunches weren't profitable, but the revenue stream was there. And then when a buyer did come along, I had good, strong, solid, auditable books, and that was good. So yeah, it was, everything's for sale.
Well, not to mention you had a passion for upholstery and leather.
That came along later.
Did it?
I just had busy hands.
Okay.
So that was a way to take care of that. But he wrote the check. I gave him the keys.
Great.
Worked for me.
So talk about your leather work.
Leather work. Now I do upholstery work. I started after I'd sold the business. I borrowed a friend's sewing machine and redid all of the furniture in my outdoor living room. And said, I could do this. It was an old antique machine that didn't sew straight. So I purchased a good machine, new, and now I do upholstery work, and I'm calling it a cash hobby. So
While you're recovering there, I want to remind everybody we'll open for questions in a few minutes, and I'm going to remind you that we'll need you to go to the microphone for that.
Yeah.
Better?
Yeah. So I do upholstery work, and I do the leather work. I have a source for leather that I won't go into that sends me samples so I can sew them up and work at my own leisure with no employees. I work when I feel like it. It's a separate building from the house, but I can still wear my slippers when I go over there. Work when I feel like it, and don't work when I don't. So gives me a chance to work with my hands. It's task work, which I'm familiar with, and it gives me a little bit of challenge in doing a lot of these things. I have to think inside out, upside down when you're sewing. So, and as I've been going along, I've been teaching myself and learning new things. And I look at some of my old work in leather bags and that, and I didn't know how to attach a handle, so I sewed it on the outside. Now I figured out how to hide the end underneath the zipper, and how to put the linings in, and now when I'm doing the linings, I glue them down so they don't wrinkle, and just little things that I see that gives me the satisfaction.
Cash hobby, huh? Yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
You came to Utah skiing.
Ski.
You still ski?
I still ski.
Alta.
Alta Snowbird. We open in less than 3 weeks. So I'm excited.
What's a ski day like for you? Are you first chair?
No. I earned my bones a long time ago. I don't need to get out there first chair. I have a leisurely breakfast and leave the house about 11 o'clock and get on the hill by noon and ski till 4:30. The last chair is at 4:30. 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. That's enough. I don't need to go bell to bell. So,
And you?
I don't go for the mornings. I sleep in the morning.
Okay. I remember you talked about a project of leather glasses holders for some of the folks in the locker room.
Oh, with that one, locker pockets.
Okay.
I have a locker. Wonderful Barb has a locker there too. And I've been sitting on the same bench next to the same guy for over 25 years. And on the inside of the locker, there's a strip of leather that has little pockets that you put sunscreen and lip gloss and shot glasses and everything else in there. So you put your skis in, and you change your boots indoors. You don't have to change in the car. So I make these locker pockets, and you hang them on the back of the door. And for all my friends down in the locker room, and I don't sell them. I give them to them, and they donate bottles of tequila to the locker room. So at the end of the day, we can have a little toast together. And I didn't pay for them, and so everybody has a drink, and we socialize, and it's camaraderie that's been there for many, many years. Guy next to me on this side, that side, they've been sitting on the same bench for 25 years. We're a family.
You've gotten very involved with the Teasdale Park.
Teasdale Park. Barb and I have been very involved with the Teasdale Park. And we administer it. We have other people on our committee. We don't do it ourselves, but in the past year we've put sprinkling system in, we've put trees in, we try to improve it as much as we can. We have a plan, hopefully it'll come through, to put in a solar pavilion that'll have markers that point to all 6 equinoxes and solstices, along with a obelisk or a tower that will show how the sun moves through the sky. And then there'll be some educational panels that'll talk about the tilted world and the tropic Cancer and the Arctic Circle, the equator. And it'll be educational, and it'll be a place that you can go and see the equinox, which is, and the solstice. And for some reason, the solstice has a place in my heart. I like it. The summer and winter. The winter solstice is the first day of spring, and the summer solstice is here comes winter. So at least that's how I see it. And it'll be a place to celebrate those.
And you've managed the citizen science
Citizen
nights.
science, yeah. Again, without Barb, we wouldn't be as far along as we are. And twice a year, for over 5 years, twice a year forever, we go out at night, and there's other night people. And we drive around in the dark, and we look at the stars, and we take light meter readings, and we're checking for light pollution. And we look at the stars, and we look at them and get humbled by them. And then we come home and we back to our house, and we have a little social hour, then be on our way. So it's been good. And the night sky is, well, the night, I enjoy it. I'm up late.
It's a pretty valuable asset we got, isn't it? Yeah. If anybody has any questions, step right up. I've got a few more for Gary, but you're...
So, Gary, how did you get to the Culinary Institute?
How did I get to the Culinary Institute? After graduating high school, I took some food classes at community college in my neighborhood, and then I had a hippie van that I was living out of one winter in the parking lots of ski areas, and my parents helped me make an application to the Culinary Institute, and I had realized at that point that either I was going to be just a line cook working, or I was going to go to the next level and get an education and be able to come to the top of the profession. And I guess living in a van for a year was great, but I call that a gap year, and I believe in the gap year, and I've told lots of students that sometimes that's what you need. You can't go straight to college.
Good. Anybody else?
That's how
Mary?
I ended up there.
Good.
Gary, I hope I told you sometime in the past how much I appreciate those multiple times when Scott and I were building our house that we would call and ask you if you could make us something special off the menu.
Well, thank you. That was always making things that were off the menu. Sometimes I grumbled. Other times it was gave me something that I looked forward to do, because rather than making the same menu day in, day out, it gave me an opportunity to change my repertoire a little bit. So I enjoyed doing it. And, there were times that vegetarians would come in, and I was in the mood for it, and I would really step up and do something fun. Other times some vegans would come in, and I would have other things that were higher priority.
Well, my brother-in-law still talks about the menu that you made for his 65th birthday, but you really outdid yourself when you not only made the food, but you made a special menu for him. And on the top you wrote, "Happy Birthday, Doug," and then you listed all of the meals. He just loved that you did that.
Good. I'm glad to hear that made his day.
And then, do you remember last spring when we did the monitoring and we were on the North Slope Road and we had a special visitor?
No. Oh, we were...
Tell that story.
When we got the cops came after us. Yeah, we were out sky monitoring. It must have been midnight. There were 6 cars, and 18 to 20 people. And Deputy Micah pulled over, lights going, and everybody going, "Shut off your lights, shut off your lights." So, yeah, what's up? What are all these people doing out at night? Yeah, well, we have light meters. Thank you, Barbara. She emailed him before our last invited him, so that he'd know we were going to be out again.
Anybody else? Oh.
So, Gary, in 1993, you were awarded Chef of the Year for the whole state of Utah. Can you tell us how you earned that award?
1993 for the Beehive Chefs Association Chef of the Year. I was active in the Beehive Chefs Association chapter in Salt Lake City, and I was awarded the Certified Executive Chef award. It's a competency-based award that in order to be a certified executive chef, you have to have education, you have to have club activities, and you have to have work experience as an executive chef. So I received a CEC award through the Chefs Association, and I was active with that, working with the Guadalupe schools in the Glendale neighborhood, and it's a school for it's poor neighborhood, and the Chefs Association worked with the Guadalupes, and and at that point we were teaching kids nutrition. We were helping them put in food service for their schools so the kids could have breakfast. For a lot of the kids, when they show up for second graders show up for breakfast, they'd have a Diet Coke and a Twinkie, and that wasn't good nutrition for learning. So we worked with the Guadalupes and got their food service program so that they had high nutrition, and then we were doing benefit dinners for the Guadalupe, and I was instrumental in working with that, and we had the benefit dinners, and we raised a bunch of money for Guadalupes, so that was good. One of the things that for that one that was kind of interesting, there had a great big snowstorm in Salt Lake, and the roof collapsed on the Sugar House liquor store. I'm not sure you remember that year. And they took all the wines in the liquor store and sold them at half price. So we went in there and we bought a pallet of wines to take to the benefit dinner. And
Good timing.
yeah, it was great.
Well,
By doing all the work with the Chefs Association and earning my certified executive chef, then the association awarded me a Chef of the Year. I'll tell you a little more about the Chef of the Year program. At that point, Chef Zane is still the chef at Stein Eriksen Lodge in Park City, Deer Valley. And so what we would do at that point was between Halloween and Thanksgiving is a really slow time for Deer Valley. So Chef Zane would have a chef's dinner, and we'd come out Saturday night and have a dinner with all the chefs in the community, and he would pull out all the stops, and we'd spend the night in the hotel, and then he'd do a brunch for us the next morning. So that was really special, and thank you, Zane, for doing that.
indeed. What do you think about all the food TV that's on?
Some of it's malarkey, and some of it's good, and I watch some, and just some, and a lot of it I don't. The reality shows are a waste of time, but there are some. The PBS ones are the ones that I'll usually get my interest.
Okay. Well, you know, on a personal note, Annie and I, if you recall, May 5th, 2001.
Catered your wedding.
We got married right here in the Roost, and then everybody marched down the street to Diablo, and it was quite the event.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed doing the catering.
You know, back in those days, it was before cell phone cameras and stuff. We had little disposables at every table, and we had 14 of them that we put out, and only could find 12. So there's pictures floating around somewhere that I still haven't heard about.
I don't know where those were.
Okay.
I have a vivid imagination. I can imagine.
You mentioned Thanksgiving. That's possibly the day when more bad cooking happens than ever. Any recommendations?
No recommendations for Thanksgiving. go to someone else's house. It would be the best one. People always ask me, I want a fresh turkey for Thanksgiving, and I go back and forth on that question. The turkey came from San Pete County here in Utah. At least 75% of the ones consumed are from San Pete. And you want the fresh turkey. How long ago did they kill it? And how long has it been in the refrigerator before you take it home for Thursday dinner? And how many times has it gone between 29 degrees and 33 degrees in that 10-day period? Or did they take it from the Norbest farm, freeze it right away, you defrost it, and it's only been frozen once.
So you probably changed a lot of minds now.
Yeah, so it's something to think about,
Yeah.
the definition of what's frozen, because it goes across that line a lot.
Yeah.
And
So, Gary, you started Diablo before the internet was really a thing. And I'm curious what lessons you learned about turning it into a destination before you could natter on Instagram and Facebook ad nauseum, which just seems to be the way it gets done now.
how did I market before the internet would be the question. I remember one winter going to the library and the bookstores and going to all the tour books and writing down the publishers, the publishing addresses of all of these tour books, Utah Guide, Moon Guide to Utah, Michelin Guide to Utah, all these guidebooks, and taking down the name and address of all the guidebooks and writing a letter to each one of them with a menu in it. There must have been 25 or 30 of them that I wrote to and sent them a letter with a menu for their guidebook. So that was the legwork on those. I know that I sent it to Wacker Avenue in Chicago for the most part, and that the person writing the guidebook never went to the office, but I didn't have their address, so I sent it to where I thought it would go.
Interesting. And don't minimize your contributions to the legacy of the food scene here. We are the indirect beneficiaries. I've got an employee now who says if you're leaning, you're cleaning. And I know who she learned that from. If you're leaning, you're cleaning. Now it's like in my head too. So, but I guess the other question I wanted to ask you is, you've been a part of so many people's celebrations over the years. And besides Don and Annie's wedding and Doug's birthday, is there anything particularly memorable or gratifying that you can, story that you can think of
Being a part of people's celebrations.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, there's been so many. We've catered weddings, we've done birthday parties, we've even had the ladies once a month birthday party. That I guess hospitality in general is what I've always, not always, I still believe in. Hospitality is what I crave and what I enjoy and what makes me happy. And that part I haven't given up. Business, I don't care about the business. The hospitality, I think, is what it is. So.
It's a lot of attitude as well as skill.
Yeah.
At your restaurant, you did not have the kitchen closed. Can you tell us why you did not have the kitchen closed off?
At the Diablo, we had an open kitchen where all the guests could see in and see the food being made. There's many reasons for that. I was at a seminar one time, and I forget it. I know his name, but I forgot it right now. One of the famous chefs was saying, your highest paid staff is in the kitchen. Show them off. Don't hide them. And I took that to heart. I also wanted people to see that it was being made by real people, not some pimply-faced kid taking stuff out of the freezer and putting it in the fryer. So I wanted people to see that we had talented staff that was really doing the work. And the dining room staff was encouraged to talk about it, talk about the staff as people, use them by name, and say, chef is doing this, chef's doing that. And so that they realized that it was personal. Everything is personal. And it was made that way, and you need to see that. You're not going to, it's not hidden. There's nothing to hide.
Mickey?
How did you get the rattlesnake for the rattlesnake cakes?
Rattlesnake, that was ordered from Broken Arrow Ranch in West Texas.
Wow.
And they would go out and rustle them up and put them in, skin them and freeze them and send them over FedEx or UPS or whatever the delivery service was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
She doesn't talk to me this much at all.
Do you want to give your secret about the rattlesnake eggs?
The rattlesnake eggs, oh, those were fun. They were always a tease. They were the little garnish on the rattlesnakes, and they were, sometimes they were snake eggs, sometimes they were snake eyes, and they were giant-sized tapiocas. Yeah, giant tapiocas. If you're in the store and you see purple label, that's the biggest ones you can buy. Tapioca is a plant that's manufactured into these little pearls. I learned about those in school. We use them. If you soak them first, then boil them in a lot of water and rinse and rinse and rinse them. They'll come out clear, and they're used as a garnish in seafood consomme, which is a very clear seafood broth. And if you put the clear little ones in the bottom, you don't see them until you find them on your spoon.
you and I were at Royals in the produce department at the same time a year or so ago, and you made it a point to compliment. You talked to Joe and to the I can't remember her name, the produce lady. And,
Produce lady, yeah. I've done that, and if I need produce and I ask her, she goes in the back and gets it out of the walk-in and doesn't grumble. I tell her that, geez, this lettuce looks pretty sad. Do you have anything that's little more? And she does.
So we're served pretty well there.
Yeah, they are. And our supermarkets in Loa does a great job with their produce for what they do. It's tough. They can't bring in all the foo-foo vegetables, which is fine, and because a lot of it doesn't have a shelf life, and they don't have the volume to carry it.
Sure.
So we have to use what we do. And the other part of it is I have a personal theory that I don't buy the foo-foo vegetables. I would do much better with number 2 potatoes and cabbages. I can make a great meal with those. I don't need to get the little purple potatoes and the baby vegetables. Pay the price for those. I can do just as good with a number 2 potato. And I'll give you one last example on why my thinking is like that.
Okay.
You're a fashion photographer, and they say, take a picture. So you get Christy Brinkley, you wake her up, you put her in front of the camera, you take her picture, write her a check for $1 million, you're done. Or you go to the mall and you take the first lady that walks by and you send her to get her hair done, to wardrobe, get the makeup done, do the lighting. You get a great picture, give her $150.
Works, huh?
Yeah, it works. So what you can do and take a little bit of effort, a little bit of time, you can make a wonderful out of simple ingredients.
Well, I want to go back once again to any fabulous flops.
Oh, I crashed my mountain bike up on the UM Peak one year and broke my shoulder and smashed my helmet. That was That was
Okay,
one of them.
that'll do.
Yeah.
So what's next on your bucket list?
Oh, bucket list. Oh, I want to travel some more. I can't wait for this COVID to get over. I want to get out and see more of the world. Travel is high on the list. I'm kind of anxious to get back on the ski hill and see some of my winter family. Those are the two main ones.
You've always had a penchant and a love for classical music.
I enjoy it.
That's another part of your travels in the past,
Travels,
hasn't it been?
yeah. It's I ended up. I did a lot of travel. I met Barb on the road. I was working for Auto Show one winter. I had to work my first few years. I owned the restaurant because it didn't support itself, so I had to work in the winters. And I would travel to all the different cities for Auto Show. And you get off work, you go to the bar, go to the bar, go to the bar. That gets old after a while. So I started going to the theater and hearing music. And so that's nice. And I've been to classical theater halls in lots of cities. Portland, Spokane, D.C., Chicago, New York, Jacksonville, Philadelphia. Yeah, it's good. It's nice, and going in the concert hall is different than hearing it on the radio. You feel it.
Of course, we're hoping to have the symphony on this stage here.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I saw them. We went to the symphony last month in Helper. We went in Bluff 2 years ago. We went to Teasdale
Sure.
5 years ago.
Well, any final words of wisdom or parting shots?
No, I don't. Enjoy your company. When I go out to dinner, if the food's not good, I enjoy the company.
Gary, thanks.
Thank you.